Forget Melrose. 90210 was a joke. It's time to get real. You're listening to The Real Realtors of the 804 with Janice Taylor, Richmond's #1 award-winning realtor. Janice and the Taylor team are here to bring you answers, give you insight, and share their experience in the real estate world. And now, Janice Taylor.
Hi, everyone. We're back. The Real Realtors of the 804. Happy to be with you guys today. Today we're going to talk about a couple of different topics, but one that's come to mind that Michael's asked us to maybe address.
Scams.
Scams.
They're back.
I had a conversation with my mom yesterday, right? And I was just testing base with her, and she still has the landline going. And so I'm on the cell phone, and I hear the phone ring. And I'm like, man, why do you still have the landline? And she's like, oh, these scammers. These people just constantly scamming me. I'm like, Mom, just don't have the landline.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't let it go. I'm like, why? And she's like, because it was her mom's phone number.
Oh, the phone number. Okay.
She doesn't want to let go of the phone number. The phone number is like back in 82 or something like that, you know?
Yep.
So I said, well, that's fine. You can still have the number. Just unplug the phone.
Right.
And then she's like, well, then I'm not giving these doctors that I see my cell phone number, and they just text me my appointment that I already know about. And she's like, so I'm like, well, then I really can't help you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Landline. Landline.
No, I would get rid of it. It's cheaper to have it with our
we
phone
have
plan.
it, but we just don't have a phone.
Yeah, we don't have a phone.
attached to it.
We did have a phone for quite some time.
We have phones on
you know who
nightstands that aren't
we
plugged
got
in.
calls from?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's the only person that called the landline that made us have a landline.
Yeah.
The only reason my dad's okay with the landline is because the phone number pops up on the TV, so he knows if he
Yeah.
it's like,
Gotta pick it up or not.
Ours does that too, and we don't even have a phone plugged in. But I'm like, oh, someone's calling us.
So speaking about that off topic real quick. Unfortunately, I have probably succumbed to your generation of cell phone use. Obviously, I live with my phone constantly, but I do have a landline. My dear, sweet dad, your granddad, is going to be 99 years old in March 19th. Woohoo! Happy birthday almost. And very healthy, lives with his wife and, real close to us and all of that. But I always knew that they could call me if there was an emergency on my landline because Bobby and I charge our phones downstairs. And I'm a little...
Wait, you don't bring your phone upstairs?
I'm a little obsessive, and I figured that I would be on it all night if it was by me. So anyway, long story short,
TikTok. Janice is obsessed with TikTok.
Yeah.
There was a slight emergency, nothing crucial. And, they forgot our landline number. So they were calling on my cell phone all night long.
Don't worry, they called us at 3 a.m. and David
they
ran
know how
over.
to reach you. Exactly. So now
we sleep with our phones.
So now I'm like, I've got to sleep with my phone. It's just easier for them to remember. It's 2 numbers to remember is too hard. And so I sleep with my phone. And if I wake up in the middle of the night, as my age, we do often, I am... I was this morning looking for rental homes for somebody. At like 5 a.m. So a lot of times I am doing real estate.
Or emailing me to correct a photo.
Yeah, exactly. You get mine at like 12:31.
I send her at 2. She's emailing me at 5.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just went to bed.
So anyway, that is an obsession, though. It's hard to sleep with your phone, and I know it's not good for you, and but at some point I'm gonna find an answer, and I'll let y'all know.
So what's the scam story?
Okay.
So
Your memory's better than mine, although I'm coming back to me.
we were part of these real estate scams. I think one of the initial groups to see it, at least in Richmond, of the prince giving money to the person who was going to purchase a house. We had no idea these things even existed. So Janice has this big, super nice listing in Barrington West, really nice neighborhood in the West End, and it wasn't a market like this. So you took any call that you could get. You definitely took a call on let's say it was $900,000 18 years ago. That's a huge, huge listing. And Janice gets this call. And if I remember correctly, the gentleman's name was Ken. And she takes it just like a professional and says, hey, I'd love to show you the house. And she can tell you a little bit about what happened from there.
Well, first of all, I've learned long ago, never judge a book by its cover. Obviously, most realtors and salespeople know that. Another story on that reminded me about that, our investor. So, talking to this gentleman, all the, right boxes were checked. He had money coming in from insurance.
A foreign
country.
Yeah, foreign country.
And on an investment he made or something like that.
A phone call he took. I mean, right now it's the money scam that everybody's like heard of.
Oh yeah, right. I have to have your money to,
You give me $5,000 and I'm a long lost family member. I have $10 million coming your way.
Right.
So there was stuff in writing.
Oh, yeah,
there was stuff
that
nobody's
was
seen
the thing.
before. It looked legitimate.
Legitimate.
Monsignor David Zomama was going to bring the money.
Yeah. And it was from banks. It was deposits from banks that showed. And, we went the route of working on the contract. The seller was very agreeable. The seller said, yeah, this looks legit to me. And we were PIs. It was, and there wasn't, as many Google, searches then as there are now. So, we were calling banks that didn't exist and, all of that. And meanwhile, I think we put the contract on a right of first refusal.
It was, yeah. You were smart enough
Never
to make it
took it off the
contingent
market.
on like proof of funds.
Right. Never took it off the market, so we were certainly welcoming other buyers. And this poor gentleman, he was convinced he was getting this money.
He was snowed. He had no idea.
And very professional.
What's the end game, though?
So he's taking money from his account, and he's sending it to this wire transfer overseas.
And they promise in turn to, send him more money back,
20 times the amount.
Yeah.
So they're just looking for one person that will send over the $5,000.
And here's the thing, though. Once you're tagged as someone who follows through, that your information gets passed on to this dark web, and that you are, you've been,
you're gullible.
You're gullible type of deal.
And this poor family didn't have a lot of money. So, as we're looking at like proof of funds and things like that, this was a regular middle class family, they weren't looking in the $900,000+ range
that long ago.
And you kind of looked at it and were like, wow, is this really going to happen? Is this really going to happen? So we're kind of waiting and waiting. And in the meantime, he gets another request for, another $2,000. I'm still stuck here. But if you send this, so he sent money overseas multiple times.
Yeah.
And in writing, without having ever seen this before, we're looking at it, and there's this huge number of, I want to say it was like $10 million or
something like that.
That he keeps providing, that looks like it's letterhead, looks legitimate to Janice, and saying, hey, we're gonna be able to buy this house, so don't let anybody else bump us. And
there was a stopgap on the process like 2 hours before the money was supposed to be wired for some odd reason that they would always come up with something that sounded legit,
right?
So but you see it again now with
now you look at it, you ignore the phone call from other countries.
Well, now it says scam likely.
Scam likely,
potential
spam.
Potential spam or scam.
We just got another warning.
That's what comes up as Janice when she calls me.
Potential scam. We just got to, MLS, we'll get agent alerts. Hey, somebody's doing a scam on buying land right now, or somebody's doing a scam on multiple things. Now people are used to it. They pick up on it. There's kind of a warning system, and all the phone calls that we wouldn't take on our home phones, they're on our cell phone and we can hit ignore.
Right.
And then listen to the message and see if the message is legitimate.
Yeah.
But we get them all the time. I get text almost daily from somebody in Georgia that wants to buy my house on Pecan Knoll Road, and this has been going on for 2 years.
And supposedly
hit-
you
Have
can
you,
hit stop.
did you look? Have you
I'll
looked?
hit-
Did you look it up and see what?
I've
if it
always
existed?
looked at the number. I always look
No,
at the address
to see
I think
what-
I might have 2 years ago, but I don't remember what it
Like
was.
where it is.
I was like, that's not owned by David Ogle. That's not my
Some
house.
gas
on Pecan
station in
Knoll.
Kansas.
Right. Totally.
But they're just waiting for one person. You send them out enough. One person, and this we had that person before anybody knew about it. Unfortunately, we ended up selling the house. Right, that was right over September 11th. Like we were at that house when
everything
the
was
towers went down. So
Yeah.
you kind of lock in on this history of the scam's going on.
Remember
and
when it was
long
then?
ago.
Yeah.
So you guys
It's
were
come
at
back.
a listing at during 9/11.
Yeah.
Well,
agent luncheon.
We had
You
an
had a
agent luncheon. We had 3 listings on the street.
We were getting ready for it.
On among agents, so it was an agent open house with 3 different listings open, and nobody knew by 11 o'clock how severe everything was. We knew what was going on, And so we decided to go ahead and have the luncheon because no one really didn't know they weren't going to work or anything that day. Had the luncheon. We were at a vacant house. I made Bobby bring a TV to the house. We knew something was happening during the agent luncheon.
Yeah, because at the time everyone had flip phones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wasn't
I was
like,
at my office and working a different job, and I drove. They released us, so I drove straight to that open house.
I was at a closing, and I listened to it on the radio as I'm walking into the closing.
Yeah, we had a TV with rabbit ears at our office and trying to adjust them. And
So I was working at BMW at the time.
Oh.
And I worked from 18 all the way up to almost 30 for this company. And the owner's son, him and I worked close together, and he's like running. He grabbed me and he run to the lobby to turn the TV on or whatever. And that's when we were seeing things. But my mom was a flight attendant and she was flying that day.
No way.
And my dad was flying back from a military thing that same day. So they were both in planes.
no way,
Yeah,
chills.
yeah.
Wow.
And so, but they were already landed when they were already in the places they needed to be.
Wow.
But I was just like, I'm like,
Yeah, and you didn't have the ability to reach them the way
no,
that
it
we
was
reach
like, no,
people
yeah, it
now.
was, yeah. So my mom was all about her minutes back then.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm not going to take this
No,
call.
too many minutes this
over
month.
my 200 minutes a month.
reset.
So fast forward, 22 years, and the scammers are back. I guess
Yeah, well,
there's a lot going on.
Well, there
in
was
different ways, so.
there's two big YouTubers this past year. They did an investigation and was able to shut down two places in India, like two big, huge facilities that are do the call scamming for the elderly and all that stuff or whatever.
Wow.
So
It is
it's-
amazing. I mean, I do. I'm regularly looking up the phone number that's coming into my phone to be like, hey, is this a call I should call and meet back immediately? Because in
Well,
our
when you're in
business,
sales,
you want to
because you wanna take all the calls,
Everybody's a
so.
prospective client, right?
Yeah.
So you want to take it, but when it looks that funny, I'll immediately dial it up. And when I see certain kind of backgrounds on those numbers, I'm like, this person was not somebody that I
Right.
need to call back immediately. So it's crazy. But Janice had another great story about kind of the book, judging the book by the cover.
Oh, yeah.
But this is probably
This
15,
is-
17 years
yeah,
ago, too,
again,
on Memorial Day weekend, I think.
When you're in sales, I mean, you like to
Taking the
think,
call.
Yeah, I was at a movie theater back when we went to movie theaters, and I had a text. This was texting back then on my pager. And
She had a page.
Yeah,
Shouldn't have a text.
Oh,
She had
excuse me,
a
a page.
Hit her on her hip.
I'm a buyer coming to Richmond. Can you meet me tomorrow morning? I'd like to buy several homes. Sounds like a scam. I'd like to buy several homes in Richmond. I walked out of the movie theater, paged him back, and said, yes, I'll meet you at certain time. We were in this office because it was right here. He came.
No. We were at Lauderdale at the time. We were still at Lauderdale.
Really?
Where Vinny's Pizza is
Yeah.
now on Lauderdale Drive. We were in that office.
I thought we were here, but
And it was going into a holiday weekend because you
Yeah.
were going to leave the books.
yeah.
Pages
No,
of the book.
somebody had left the books.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened is he came in. I met him, young guy. I mean, maybe 25 years old, and used to be in Richmond. Moved to California, and opened up a mortgage business, doing very, very well. And he just said, you know what? I believe in Richmond. I want to buy some investment property here. I said, how many do you want to buy? He said, I'd like to buy 10 while I'm here today, this weekend. And I'm like, okay, still He said, you want to know why I'm here? I don't know whether someone referred my name or he saw it
None.
on the truck, something. And he said, I was referred to an agent to work with me on buying these investment properties. And basically they said, pick up an MLS book, which we weren't allowed to give out at the time, technically. Pick up an MLS book at my office door and go through it and let me know which ones you want to see. What kind of salesmanship is that?
Right.
These books were like
Yeah.
this
Heavy
thick.
phone books.
Like
Yeah.
just black and white
Yeah.
pictures of homes. With
like
a little bit of
newspaper print.
information.
Yeah.
that was like the MLS.
Yeah.
That was MLS.
MLS book,
Yeah.
phone book,
How did they
Every week.
update it?
every week.
Every week.
Yeah.
Every week.
My after school projects were cutting out and gluing on paper and her copying
listing appointments.
listing
For listing
appointments.
appointments or for buyers appointments, taking them out so they can see
That's
the pictures.
insane.
One fun picture. That was all. So anyway, we connected, and I went to show him some houses, and I'm still like, okay, show me the money, and I think we had 7 contracts that weekend.
Yeah, I think she called me in, and I swear we were at the beach that weekend, and she's like, "You need to come back." And I'm like rolling my eyes. I'm like, "Okay,
David the
this
skeptic.
falls in your plate." 7 offers in a weekend, and so we did. We sat down, and every offer was the same. Like
Yep.
we would write.
Oh, totally.
At that point, he would ask for 2% in closing costs.
Yep.
It was always actually he changed over the years to the type. We worked on them for years. He changed the type of house, went from stuff with hardboard siding to all vinyl.
Vinyl, yeah.
From 3 bedrooms to it had to be 4. And he had worked out all the numbers to say, hey, I know exactly what rent I can get. I couldn't do this in California. I can't buy
Right.
10.
And he knew Richmond, you know.
Oh, yeah, he
because
was from
went-
Richmond. His
Yeah.
mom was here.
Yeah.
Family was here.
Yeah, he had a sister here and our sister-in-law here. So we probably kept that relationship going for 10, 15 years. We ended up being rock stars in the real estate market at that time because literally our name was out there representing this buyer, investor. And back then there weren't that many buyers, you know, buying investment property. And literally
not at this volume.
Right.
Like, it was,
literally, when an agent got a listing, we'd get the call. And imagine that. Times have turned.
Yeah.
Calling saying, I've got a listing coming up. Do you think so-and-so wants to buy the listing? Randy was the name. Think Randy wants to buy the listing? And I'm going,
they
I'll
knew
let
his
him
name
know.
at that
What
point.
happened to this guy?
Oh, he's still living in California. We ended up actually, these were going to be his retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when the market started crashing a bit, he kind of maybe saw the foresight and, you know, said, sell them all. Just sell everything you
He had
can.
upwards of 30 plus homes.
Yeah, mhm.
At one point, all in the West End, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yep.
All ended up being 4-bedroom, vinyl,
Nice
great
property.
neighborhoods, great. And he was getting to the point where he was saturating the rental market on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had so many rentals and controlled the rent for so many properties that he was controlling that rental market in the West End for single family homes.
And we pretty much put his portfolio together because anytime we saw something, we'd just call and say, hey,
Do you want this?
he had, I guess I shouldn't say this because I'm not sure it was legal, but he had pre-signed contracts with us,
Yeah.
you know, and basically we send them to him and, you know, they're already signed, send, you know, show him what we.
That hasn't happened. What's the amount of time that has to go by for
Great.
that to be not an issue anymore? We've
Statute of limitations.
passed the statute of limitations
Yeah.
on Randy's
Yeah, we can't
pre-signed
do that
offers. I mean, you were doing this from California, so we
Yeah.
weren't emailing and electronic signing. If we had to get a contract from Randy, it was a fax.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'd fax it out to California. It would get faxed back. And he got to the point where he trusted us implicitly. You know, we knew he was legitimate. So we ended up selling most of them
Yeah.
for him through the years. And, you know, it was
This other agent just didn't pull
one
the
phone
strings the
call
right
pickup
way.
that Janice made probably ended up resulting in 75 deals plus.
Oh, plus,
through
yeah,
over-
between the
through a
buys and the
period of-
sells, yeah.
through a
That's
period of
liquid
time.
gold there.
It's crazy. I mean,
was fun.
it was one of those things where it was just like, hey, we've got this guy that nobody believes would have been out
He
there.
was
Right.
so young,
Yeah.
you know, too. I mean, he was, but, you know, it's every agent's dream if you can follow through with it, you know. And like we said, don't judge a book by the cover. You know, how
Right.
many
Taught
times?
me a lesson super early that you
Yeah.
pick up the phone call, even though, like she said, I'm the skeptical one in the group most of the time. I'm like, I'll follow through, but
Right.
Yeah.
he was legit. You'll pick up the phone.
Yep. I
Man.
mean, it's, you know, how many times people drive up when we do an open house or whatever in some beat up car, you know, something, and it's like, hey, you know what? Everybody's welcome. Everybody's got the chance, you know, to buy this. And so, anyway, that was one call that was glad I took. So
That's crazy. I mean, like, you don't, that's not going to
That
happen.
wasn't a scam.
No,
No, that
that's
wasn't
not
a
a scam.
scam.
And probably won't happen again. But
No. So,
yeah, and try to get investors to do that. Investors are calling us now, going, "What can we buy? I want to buy something. I mean,
Right.
you know." So it's kind of back to that, but there's nothing for them to buy that much
Right.
now. So,
yeah, you got to be really creative.
and they're flipping them anyway. So
Yeah.
Well, we were going to talk about the listing process today. Do we have a couple of minutes to dig into that?
Yeah, I think so.
We got off topic a little bit.
I know.
But
So.
we love our stories. I hope you guys like our stories. We could probably think of a whole lot more.
no, we can. Don't worry.
So, as we talked a little bit in our previous podcast about the buyer process, the listing process for us is kind of the where the rubber meets the road. You know, that's where most agents get their pipeline of buyers and referrals and, you know, that sort of thing. So, if they don't buy our listing, we hope a buyer that comes through, we're going to sell them something else. But, you know, listing referrals come from different venues, I guess. There's some agents that constantly advertise on Zillow and, internet marketing and all of that. There's some that just cold call constantly. And it works. Whatever works for you that makes you comfortable is the key, as long as you're doing something and you're keeping that client.
Consistent.
Yes, you're cultivating them, but you're keeping them. You're not letting them go. Our, listing has been a lot by referral. We're kind of known for that because we do like to service our clients quite a bit, and we're asking for the referrals constantly. But, we do obviously do all the other advertising, and somebody will see our sign in a neighborhood or something and call and just say, hey, I'm thinking about putting my house on the market. I'm interviewing 3 agents or whatever. And
some people are listening to our podcast, to get these.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I told that story to someone the other day because they were asking me how the podcast.
They're
things
under
are going.
contract.
Yeah.
Those Tennessee guys. Yep. Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. But it is always nice to know if you are competing with other agents. So if they don't tell us that we're competing, I often say, are you interviewing other agents? It might be a little bit different demeanor going in when you're on the edge of, competing with, other agents. But the way we prepare basically is to do the market analysis, get as much information about the house as we can from the seller prior to going out there, check the tax records, check if there was a previous listing. Sometimes we can look at the interior photos from before, knowing hopefully they've, updated it somewhat. And then pull all the comps for the area. We kind of go beyond and, we put a hardback book together for them and, show them exactly the marketing plans that we do, the photography that we do, and all the websites that we put their house on, and how we draw traffic and, have that market presence. We talk a lot about the RE/MAX name because that's very important to us. We've got, dominate the market globally, and our market presence is much, more cast a much wider net, than a lot of other companies. So we do have a lot of, a lot of advertising that comes into our listings, and buyers that are referred to us, we obviously love to show our listings. So once we have that listing appointment, usually they don't decide right then. We try to capture that appointment right then. If they do want to think about it a day or two, we definitely hopefully get that call. We get that call, and then immediately we schedule a consultation, which we've talked about before in our staging podcast, that Jennifer and I go out and kind of give them the lowdown on what they need to do to get their house prepped. If they do need contracting work, if they can just do it on their own, how long a process do they need? But mostly we ask what is the most important value to them during this process. Is it a quick process? Is it the highest price? Is it, ease of, the process while we can, project manage everything for them? So, we try to find out what's most important to our sellers as well as our buyers.
If I was a buyer, or if I was a person selling and I was like, I want to put up the market today, as it is, even if it's a great house, or look, would you do it still?
Say that without doing anything, you mean?
Yeah. My quick answer is yes, if you would understand the difference between getting it right or putting it on quickly.
Right.
So we've done it both ways. We've had somebody that needs to turn it around immediately.
We've got one coming up that, it's a divorce situation, unfortunately. The husband wants to know the figures with the work we've suggested and without the work we've suggested. And it's not as black and white as that, because a lot of times it's the time frame. It's the time on the market that actually causes the price to go down, not so much the condition. So you have to hit the sweet spot with the pricing and condition at the beginning to get the overbids or get the highest price. But what happens is, the price just starts decreasing over time. And that's what causes the lower offers to come in. And staying on the market longer is literally due to condition, totally condition.
Yeah, and I think it's that honest conversation that, hey, if you put it on just like it is right now, you're going to get $350. If you wait 2 weeks and do the things that we recommend, you may get $400 plus with a $4,000 investment in getting the house ready, staged, professional pictures done properly, everything that's involved. And it's their call, right? I mean, it's their call to say, hey, I don't care about all that. I just want it sold. If that's the case, put it on the market the same day. If it's not, and they say, okay, that makes sense, then we go. And sometimes it's in between. Hey, we can do A, B, and C, but we're not going to do these things. I mean, we have to listen and say, okay, what's important to you? Is the walk away? And I think that's one of the big things that changed with us is what we do is typically our sellers are going to net more from their sale because of what we do, because of the staging, because of the prep work, because of all the legwork we do, they're going to net more for their house. So you could go to, Johnny, I like to sell them for a lower commission rate realtor, and they're not going to do anything. There's not professional photos many times. There's not marketing. They're just trying to get people through the door. And in this market, will they get people through the door? Yeah, they probably will. But you might have saved 1% on that listing, but by not using the right company, you might have wasted $20,000.
What's that online company that I see the billboards where it's like 1% commission or less, or what's it starts with the C.
Cap
Cap Center.
Yeah, Cap Center.
Cap Center.
Yeah.
Cap Center ties all their processes into like one package. So if you use their realtor, it's less. Again, less marketing.
Is it a virtual? Is it a virtual?
No. They have real estate
local.
agents. Yeah, they'll tie it to their lender. They have the 0 closing cost loan. Well, it's tied into the rate, right? Your rate's a little higher because they're going to cover your closing costs. You can't cut closing costs and not have a way to make money.
Is that a traditional loan, or is it like all kinds
conventional loan? Yeah, conventional loan. It's just the rate is going to determine how they absorb those closing costs, pay for title insurance, have their settlement agent. All of those pieces of the pie help them to create a business that says 0 closing costs. So if you're driven by that kind of lesser cash output, other lenders can do the same thing. They just have marketed it the best as a 0 closing cost type of deal.
Right.
Well, and then you've got the, We Buy Ugly Houses and the agents that guarantee the sale of your home. There's always a hook, with everything. I'm not saying they're not legit by any means, but, there's always something. I mean, we actually diagnosed a whole, we'll buy your home if it doesn't sell, and it's probably about 40% less in some cases, maybe 20.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like I see that a lot.
That big number is, hey, do I just want to sell it? Do I just want to walk away with the inheritance or whatever it might have been of dad's house that sold and we're out of town? That may work for some people. We always say, wow, we're going to net you the most for the house. Is that important to you? And again, listening, we can work around that, but our goal is to sell it for the highest price in the neighborhood that the neighborhood's seeing each time that we list a house.
I can't think of the last time, if there was ever, that we just put a sign up and rolled with it. I mean, it's a lot easier, trust me.
I'd be out of a job, though.
Yeah, that's right. It's a process with us. It's very, I think, well-oiled, and we know what we're doing, and we like it because we know the ultimate. I mean, we get a high on staging these houses. At the end, is like, okay, it's ready. We know when it's ready, and we have a seller whose house is coming on the market this week, and I think he came down. He was working upstairs and came downstairs and went, "Oh my gosh, how'd y'all do this so fast? This is like amazing." So we love it. We love when we can say, "Move that bus." For those of you that remember those days.
One of our recent sales that was multiple contracts. She shared the story after that she was talking to her brother and sister-in-law who live out, I think maybe in Louisa, somewhere west of town. And they were like, why are you doing all this to get your house on the market? And they were like, well, we trust what David and Janice and Jennifer are saying. We trust the Taylor team. And it led to what I would say is probably a 10% higher sales price on that house than if they had just put it on. It was a beautiful house, good location. But the little things that they were willing to do, we did some carpet, we did some paint. They had already renovated the kitchen, so that looked awesome.
Right.
It's a great school district, but I think without those things, it would have probably sold for 10% less and not had the number of showings. So,
it's funny in the car business. Like sometimes it doesn't. That doesn't matter. Like you can roll up in a dirty car and still get the same amount. It doesn't matter.
From a dealer.
From a dealer.
Right.
From a dealer.
But you put it on a lot, and don't you think those owners of those lots, those dealers of the lots, they're going to have it detailed?
Oh no! I'm saying if you want to go sell your car to a dealership,
low end.
or any dealership, because they're just going to clean it,
They
or
know they're going to have to do it anyway.
Do it anyway, whatever. But so
that
like,
would be selling to an investor.
My father-in-law was cleaning his car. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, we're going to go and trade in the car. Trade in the car. I'm like, no, just give him the keys.
Right.
This is the price and stuff like that. This doesn't matter what you clean it or. And so it's just like, but for a house, it matters.
Yeah, and it will sell. Every house sells, right? Even the worst conditioned house is going to sell, but it just depends for how much or how long it sits on the market.
The days on market is the telltale sign as to how close your sell price to list price ratio is. question.
Someone in the photography world. I'm part of a Facebook where it's everyone's for real estate photographers, and
That
this
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
It
gonna
was
go on that.
no, it is terrible.
Do you tell stories about us?
I'm
on that?
sure.
Oh yes.
I only put little
yes.
things in there, but there's some people that go over the top. Like you're actually.
He's
like,
probably got a
yeah.
nickname for us on
Exactly.
that. He's like, we'll just call it TT.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the agent put the photos upside down on purpose.
Because they were so bad.
No,
Just to get some interest.
Grab attention.
grab attention.
Well, did you see?
It would drive me crazy if
couple
I was a
years
consumer.
ago-
I'd be like, nope, nope.
They just put them upside down.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, there was the person, I think they were in Chesterfield, and it was around Halloween. They did the inflatable T-Rex costume.
Yeah.
And it made like national news. She
Yeah,
would
yeah.
The
put this-
listing here in town? How did I miss that?
like all her listings that year, a couple months of that year, she would have like
A little video of them and the dinosaur like blow up things and be in different parts
Watch
of the room.
out. Watch
I know,
out.
but even some pictures, it'd be like standing in a corner, like the dinosaur would be, or like taking something out of the cabinet, and if that was the
It's like
pictures
your
they
Christmas
used.
That's what we need to
tree
do. It's
at
like
my
the,
picture
the
thing.
grocery store that has like,
Where's
hey,
Waldo?
We hide,
Our listing
we
of
hide what Trader Joe's, right?
The bear.
Yeah.
And once you find it at Trader Joe's,
get a
they
lollipop.
rehide it somewhere else. We're
you
gonna
know
start
that-
doing that with our pictures.
Do you know that I have a signature for my photos that you guys don't know about?
Oh no.
No.
It's a little Easter egg thing, but basically my car in the front.
Oh, really?
So in any of
Yeah.
the front photos of the
And you always
living
tell
room,
us to move our car? Oh, out of the window.
out on the window.
Oh, cool.
So it's
Should have
like
never told Janice that. That's gonna be moved. Hey,
Yep.
listen, turn on all the lamps and move Michael's car.
yeah.
so it's kind of like every so often you can see my car in some kind of foreign distance.
Right.
That's great.
Oh, that's
It's kind of a Tesla plug.
yeah, the Tesla plug.
I see a little cool campaign coming. You guys need to send us some ideas of like what you want to see in corners of our listings.
David has a friend that often gives him a good, hilarious saying that he may have to drop at a showing or open house or something. And
He'll find like a word and he'll be like, hey, you're going to show houses today. I need you to use like contemporaneous with your clients. And I'm like, contemporaneous or a panty dropper.
Yep, that-
Panty dropper was my favorite one.
Yeah.
And I
That is
used it. I used it.
awesome.
I was like, I've got the right clients where I can use panty dropper on this house. So we like look out the upstairs window and I'm like, God, that view, man, that's a panty dropper. And these people looked at me like, what? And I go, hey, Bobby, I said it.
it was a bet.
You gotta do while you're on video, like
Yeah.
they don't know you're on video and just hold the phone.
Dude,
But
he used to
that's
have the best time giving me
hilarious.
those. Yeah, he'd be like,
He's
"Look, you
really
gotta say
cool.
this." So I've done it with my nephews, where I've been like, "Hey,
You're selling medical equipment.
you're
You
selling
have to
medical
say,
equipment. You're talking to a doctor. You have to say this word, and it's always something ridiculous."
But I knew exactly who he was talking about. Very dear friend, but he's the worst person to play. What's our thing we
Catchphrase.
play?
Catchphrase.
With. He takes that machine and talks to his.
Fast-moving game.
Yeah.
Hey, David, this phrase is,
It could be a team of 10 people, and he always looks right at me and kind of lowers his
and he
glass.
passes it to the next person as the buzzer goes on.
Yes.
That's
He's always
hilarious.
thoughtful about his words. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to think of a
Well,
word.
I like when I gave you the Easter egg of all the photoshopped photos in the master bedroom.
Well, that's what I said. You
Christmas
didn't hear me say
tree.
Christmas
Oh, the-
tree
yeah,
shot.
yeah.
Christmas tree shot.
Yeah.
That
Just to
you
see
did
if
that to
Janice
make me
catches
crazy,
it.
though.
Yeah, I did.
I thought, wait, when did this happen?
We missed a room.
I didn't even know it was available to do anything like that, but now I know.
Right.
So
Yeah,
anyway.
we're gonna have to find a trinket. Send us something that we need
Yes.
to hop into these photos as a staging decoration. That'd
yeah,
probably
or
be the best.
send us a picture
Right.
of your pet or
the
something.
green
fun we
glass
can put
duck
in
that
there.
we have in our
Yeah.
house.
And
That'd
now
be
we have a
good.
Buddha.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Well, you have to ask us what the kind of topics we want to talk about too. So,
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, feel free.
We'll always think of something, and we'll always get off target a little bit. But
Right.
we hope you like that.
it's
So,
a little bit entertaining. So.
yeah.
I know. So don't forget to like us and follow us and comment things you want covered, little Easter eggs you would like us to plant in pictures, or
Questions you
or
may have
social
for
marketing
topics,
things
yeah.
like that.
Alexa, we're on Alexa now.
Oh yes, yeah. If you're in your kitchen and real bored, right? What do you say?
Yeah, Alexa, play the Real Realtors of the 804.
Yeah, there you go.
Going
And-
off somewhere in here. Usually when you say that kind of thing,
I
there's
know,
an
right?
Alexa somewhere listening.
My
do it-
parents, when we FaceTime, they sit between. There's like two couches, and then the end table between them, and there's Alexa right there. And so sometimes before I leave or before I sign off, I go, Alexa, play Eagles, and then so
Hang up.
I hang up, and it's
Can't
like
turn it off.
And they're like, oh my god.
That's great. That's
awesome.
great.
We did have a request for Bobby to be on a podcast, so
Yeah, we'll get him
we'll
in.
drag him in here one day when he's not driving the truck around.
There you go.
Yeah, we need
So-
some guest speakers too. We need some,
Yeah, we'll do
maybe
that.
some lenders or some people
Yeah.
to come in and.
We've got
kinda-
a couple people that are locked in on that. We just have to get them the right date because it seems to change sometimes. Michael, I don't know if you're aware of that. but
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
schedule something and it gets moved.
Right.
Well, what was
Because
last
our clients
week?
come first, David. Our
Oh,
clients come
right.
first.
What? But
Right.
was it me because I was sick last week, or was it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, you were sick.
Sure.
Well, and you
Sure,
wanted
it-
bar stools, so I had to go all over
Janice
town
had
looking
a
for
serious
these bar
hair-
stools.
hair appointment. And
Bar,
when that hair
3
appointment
bar
comes,
stools, not 4.
You're lower than us. I'll go get the 4th. I just thought
It doesn't have to match.
My bad. It was my bad.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh wow. All right.
we'll be consistent.
See you guys.
I know. Well, don't forget to like and comment. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed today's episode of The Real Realtors of the 804. If you have a question you would like to ask Janice or her team, please reach out to them at realtorsofthe804@gmail.com or 804-921-9995.